Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to yet another AGORA Talk of the 28th Thessaloniki Documentary Festival. I would like to thank the Municipality of Thessaloniki for offering this wonderful space. And I will not stay long. I just wanted to say that it's quite crucial that we keep on this conversation about sustainability in film production. And we have some people that are very knowledgeable about these things here today. With no further ado, I will pass the floor to Linea Mertzagora. I pronounced it well, thank you. And only to say that this AGORA Talk, we're hosting this AGORA Talk, and it's organized by the Film Office of Central Macedonia and the Hellenic Film and Audiovisual Center. Thank you so much, and enjoy the discussion.
Thank you, and good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for being with us today. I want to, first of all, let me thank the AGORA Thessaloniki International Documentary Festival for hosting us and for the good collaboration. And I also want to underline how much they have made towards making their festival more sustainable. And sustainability is really important to them, and also with the Evia Film Project, which I've been lucky enough to be hosted by. And I also really appreciated yesterday, I went to a screening and there was also communication about their sustainable action at the beginning of the screening. So I think they set an example for many festival and market events. So thank you. And this is also a demonstration of how much sustainability means to them that they have hosted today this talk. We are here in Thessaloniki, me, Julia Tordai, and Serena Alfieri, because we are part of this European project which is called GreenSCAP, which stands for Green Skills for Cinema and Audiovisual Production. The aim of the project is to train 12 sustainability managers because, we've been talking a lot about sustainability in the film industry, but a key role is played by those new professionals, and there is much to learn. There aren't so many of them yet, and this is a gap we would love to fill with this training. And it's made possible by the collaboration of Spain, Greece, and Italy, so Veneto Film Commission, Central Macedonia, Hellenic Film Commission, and ECOMED, and Creative Hub Mallorca. And let me also thank Lina Milomaki and Stavrola Geronimaki, and also Kalica and Vajos, and Arianna, of course. So that's it. I want to thank a lot, because I think this is really an important step into making our industry more sustainable. A few things about who we are. So I will just say I am Linea Mertzagora, and I am the project manager for Green Film, which is an international initiative for promoting sustainability in filming through a certification scheme. And here with us today, we have Julia Tordai, who is a sustainability manager, and Serena Alfieri, who's a producer. But I will let them present themselves. So if you would love to say a few words about who you are and what sustainability means to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lina. Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for coming. It's always good to see that there is an audience for this. There is an audience for talking about sustainability also in this very crazy moment. And I'm Serena Alfieri. I'm a film producer coming from Italy, Rome. I kind of specialize in international co-production. I worked for 10 years as a delegate producer of a company called Vivo Film and specialized in art house. And now I join a company called Volos Films Italia, who is specialized in co-production even with Asia. And I started to use green protocol since more than 10 years, starting with the protocol designed by Sardinia Film Commission, a region in Italy. And then in 2022, I attended a workshop made by Torino Film Lab called Green Film Lab, and I started to use in all the production Green Film Protocol.
My name is Julia Tordai. I'm coming from Budapest, Hungary. My background is in science, biology, and I studied science communication. That's when I started to think about that film, especially I really wanted to do documentaries back then. It's a really strong media to communicate with people, social issues, environmental issues. And I started to work on film productions where I saw how much waste we are creating. So that's how the idea came with Green Eyes Production. And I saw that there are some companies doing it. And since it was 5 years ago, I'm working mainly on big international service productions, tentpoles, and high-end TV with studios like Netflix, Apple, HBO production, but also local Hungarian smaller movies. And I also like to show you at the beginning here like a short video on what we are doing, so you can maybe more vision it now. So if you can share it.
Strictly speaking, a film production is a rather bustling little hamlet. It necessitates monumental architecture, pressed costumes, a hot kitchen, 18th century perukes, pyrotechnics, industrial quantities of electricity, and, most indispensably, petit fours. At Green Eyes, our team busies itself with the meticulous analysis and environmental optimization of the manufacturing process. That is to say, we strive to reduce the production's total carbon footprint. We are perpetually scouting for novel, eco-friendly technologies into the various departmental workflows. Green Eyes stands as one of the most storied sustainability consultancies, having graced numerous gargantuan Hollywood endeavors and modest European pictures alike, stretching from our own little country through Bulgaria and all the way to England. We look back upon these projects with a certain quiet pride. Our fastidious labor spared the Earth 20,000 tons of carbon, prevented the disposal of close to 4 million plastic bottles, and donated 10,000 items otherwise destined for the dustbin. In the world of cinema, nearly every major industry is represented. Consequently, Green Eyes has acquired a vast and curiously wide-ranging lexicon of expertise over the years, which we are prepared to offer well beyond the silver screen. Whether it be a gala event, the construction trade, the garment industry, or perhaps even a perfectly symmetrical pet shop.
Thank you, Julia, for also making it fun. So the idea of this talk is we have two very different perspectives here. So on one side, he's the sustainability manager, and on the other hand is the producer. So the ideal world would have them work hand in hand, and yeah, that is most often the case, but they have very different perspective and needs. And so I would start from you, Julia, and as a sustainability manager, what are usually the main obstacles or misconceptions that you find when you're talking with the producer and starting to think about a strategy for sustainability?
I think sustainability really needs long-term thinking, and also there is a lot of preparation. So as you also see from the short film, but like a lot of industries represented, a lot of people with different background working together to create one thing, a movie or a film, which is amazing, but also really difficulty. So I think already to work with so many different sectors together, so many different people, and usually in a short time of period, it's already a challenging thing. So I think maybe first obstacle I would identify the time sensitivity, because like sustainability needs a proper strategy, like plans and thinking ahead. And because usually we don't have that much time, we need to do everything really quickly. But that's why we are working in the creative industries, because we as sustainability people, we also need to be creative to find solutions for the creative industries. So, and that's the first thing. And I think later on I will also identify more obstacles. I just don't want to say everything at the beginning.
Okay, great. And you, Serena, is it kind of the same question to you? But what are the main obstacles, pressure, or I don't know, constraints that a producer must face when and the challenges that sustainability present to film set?
Okay, first of all, every project, as we always said, it's a prototype. So every time you need to understand what you can achieve, and this means that also as producer you need to be aware of this. I was lucky to be trained and also to have a lot of sustainability manager who helped me for every project. So this to identify which is the scenario from the sustainable point of view. And then the fact that especially in the pre-production, that is the moment in which it's crucial to understand and also to accept everything, and also the sustainability of the film is that you have a problem of time, so you have pressure. And of course, as I'm an independent producer, you have problem with the budget, and you have limit. You have a lot of limits, and you put a lot of limits in the creativity process. And so you have to try and to work with also sustainability manager and with your crew to don't make sustainability another big limit. To don't make also for the people of the crew like an enemy. Because otherwise you fail in the communication, for instance. Maybe you achieve the scores that you need for a protocol, you achieve in terms of emission, but then in the end, you make people feel that be sustainable is a sacrifice, it's a big sacrifice, and it's a pity in that case.
Thank you. So, do you find it difficult for you to be accepted from the crew, and can the producer help to this regard? Because the sustainability manager is kind of a new figure in the film sets, so perhaps sometimes it's hard to be heard or listened to.
Yeah, it's quite new, so I think, like it's still shaping what our role exactly is, what we need to do. But also it was the time when I started sustainability, it was right before COVID. And at that time, also the COVID department was a new department. And what was not really nice is that some people told, oh, this is the new COVID department, because so that's what Serena just mentioned, like to not feel pain in the ass, that, you follow protocols, you want to do the measurements. So what basically do, because just from this scratch, so what we are doing, we are coming to film productions, we are helping to build their strategy, identify the impacts, but we also measure how much of a carbon footprint is what data we can have from the different departments. At the end, we do a report. So that's mainly our job. And in between, we have a lot of talks with different departments, and the whole film production process, especially like on those big production, is usually already really framed. So they have this meeting, 2 weeks, they have the energy meeting where the location manager is involved, the unit manager is involved, the production is involved, and it's sometimes hard to squeeze in like new things like sustainability. And I think we kind of need to find ways to not feel on people that this is an additional task, an additional thing they need to do, but this is something everyone needs to do, because it's not anymore about like having the hippie, a vegan, someone that thinks it's sustainability cool. We are living in a world where this is like really important to talk, as same as the social aspects of sustainability, but also environmental issues now are everyday things. So yeah, I think we need to find ways to build it in the production method.
Do you want to say, to add something about how the producer can help the crew accept the sustainability manager?
Okay, first of all, I have to say that at the beginning, as delegate producer, I was seen also. As sometimes people on set thought that I was the sustainability manager. I remember once I arrived on set and like a second AD told me, you had to be very careful with the bottles and everything because the sustainability woman is coming today. And then I said, it's me, and I'm the delegate producer. And I was like, and you are in trouble. But it's not. So I have to say that, yes, to be also me, to be accepted as like, it was not easy at the beginning. It really depends. It depends from the project. But what we can do is be the first ally. Is be like a sort of an ambassador. It's make the people of the crew understand that this is crucial for us. This is important, and also that talking about independent company, that is in the spirit of the company, and also so to be the first to show that you can do things. So, I don't know, you have to don't travel in a business on a flight. You have to act as the first one. And also, I think that you have to try to involve the sustainability manager in the process as soon as possible. That for me is as soon as you have the information that they can process, and also maybe to try to putting them in the dialogue, adding creative ideas, not just solving problems, but also probably to avoid problems.
So to take a step back, sustainability can be a choice of the producer because he really wants his film or her film to be more sustainable. But in the European landscape, it can also become a requirement for some funding, for example, or especially for fundings. And in your experience, can you describe some moments when some sustainability requirements created unexpected challenges, and how did you solve them? And perhaps if you could also give a few examples of what does sustainability on set really means, because perhaps we come from a training where we spoke a lot about all the sustainability measures, but perhaps not everyone in the audience has a clear idea of what this sustainability measure may mean. So if you could give a few examples, thank you.
Yeah, I would maybe start to say like what are usually the biggest emission factors on a film production. And it's almost every time, it depends on the genre, the where is shoot, etc. But usually, in general, 90% it's the transportation, which is the biggest emission factor. And then it's energy, and then accommodation, travel together, and I mean accommodation, sorry, because like for the transportation, it's ground transportation, yeah, what, sorry. So, yeah, the biggest, I lost actually my thoughts, what I wanted to say, but identify like the biggest emission factors, which is following this, and then you kind of need to identify how to decrease or how to find solution. And it depends on the region where you are, what solutions are already available. And you can find to address each of it, what's available or what can be implemented. So I can give you an example for transportation. So the best transportation is if you walk or you use your own energy. Of course, that's not always available. So if you are using a car, then use an electric car. And in not every territory, electric cars are available for renting. So you kind of need to find solution for that, like whether you are using hybrid cars, or you can also be like more efficient to use diesel cars. So putting like more crew together in one van, or organize the routes to have less kilometers. So yeah, that mainly like.
Probably, as I mentioned, that I do a lot of co-production, and we are talking about European landscape. The challenges in 2 occasions was that we were shooting in Italy, and once in Israel and once in Bulgaria. And so we had 2 totally different territories, and also 2 totally different shootings, because they were different. And so at the beginning, the idea was, okay, let's not use the protocol for the film, because it's too different. And then I really wanted, and so for instance, in that case, I talked to because when you use a protocol, you have a certifying body, meaning an independent company who does the audit. I told to them, and I said, okay, let's do 2 protocols, because these 2 countries are too different. And for instance, in Israel, you don't have Euro 5, Euro 6. And so, I mean, it was very challenging, because I needed to sit with the people of production of the other country, asking like, okay, how do you do this? How we can adjust? Really, also because how we can squeeze the territories, because I mean, in the independent cinema, what we try is really to take as most as possible from the territories. And I mean, this was challenging, and I was very lucky, because the audit body, they accepted this. It was like the first time, I think. And also, I mean, I had to make like, they couldn't come on set to make the audit. We made the Zoom call from Jerusalem. It was before 2023, of course. But now thinking about this is super crazy. I was like on a Zoom going on set, interviewing people, and make them understand that I was really following the protocol. Super crazy. But also funny.
So I just wanted to say, how many producers, more or less, are in the audience today? Can you? So a few producers. We also have the participant of the MINEV project, by the way, who I want to thank, and that we will meet later. It's an Interreg project about how to make big events sustainable. But that question about producer was because usually one of the main worry, let's say, of a producer is about costs. So how much sustainability is going to cost me? But I think, and I ask you both to tell me if it's true, that a lot of times sustainability can also be efficient on a budget level. So it may also not only reduce the environmental impact, but also reduce the costs. So if you could make perhaps an example to make it practical for the audience.
I think this is also depends on the region where you're shooting. What are the biggest savings if you introduce so for instance, HVO fuel, I don't know, you know that fuel, it's called, it's the shortening for hydrotreated vegetable oil, and it's a renewable fuel. It can be used for diesel engines, and it's much more sustainable because it's made out of vegetable oil, or it can be also made out of waste. So, for instance, in the UK, in England, it can be also cost less than normal fuel if you book it in advance. But like the other example is reusable boxes or bottles, so you can have a lot of savings by using this instead of plastic bottles or everyday takeaway boxes. So I think those, but also instead of diesel generators, because a lot of film production uses diesel generator on location shoots, or if the main electricity power is not enough. Batteries can be also a saving solution. It really depends on which case, but we can make for a production like estimations, calculations, because most of the time what we saw that the power is really oversized. So the generators they are bringing in, it's much bigger than it's really needed. So we are burning everyday fuel and much more fuel than it's needed. So in that case, we can make a comparison that, okay, what if we bring in a battery instead of that generator? Or what if we do, it's called hybrid generator, which means a battery pack, it's communicating with the diesel generator, and it's making the peak shaving in the power, so that way you can save like 80-90% of your fuel. So that way you can calculate how much the fuel cost is, which a lot of producers are actually not calculating with, because fuel is something, you know, like, oh, you know, like we have budget for it, and then, you know, we are using even more. And maybe the additional cost of renting a battery pack instead of a diesel generator, with the calculating the fuel cost, it can also make money savings. Same with recycling. So having, in most of the countries, because it really depends also on the country and the regulation and what's available, but in most of the countries, communal waste transportation costs more than recycling. In our country, recycling, if it's a clean waste stream, it's for free. So imagine if you create like a much better recycling numbers, then you can save a lot of money. Also the same if you can collect separately the wood, etc. So I think there are a lot of solutions. I could even say more. So for instance, if you're building big sets and you have a lot of painting, like the paint wastewater, so while painting you're removing from the brushes the paint, and it goes into a different like container with the wastewater, and it's hazardous waste. So the cost of the hazardous waste transportation, it's really high. So there are also solutions for that, to reduce the wastewater in the paint solution. So we are here to find solution for each of this, and I think to implement, the easiest thing to implement in sustainability is, and the best for the producer as well, is the ones that create savings. So when we have a solution, it's a saving, then I'm sure Serena would tell me, you can go with it.
So my production department can see, yes, it is saving. I always try to say, because I come from independent cinema, we don't have a lot of money, we don't shoot in studio, rarely we build big sets, so we shoot in real location. But for instance, we need trucks trucks to transport material, trucks to power, trucks for makeup. So, for instance, a good saving, way to save money and be more sustainable is to cut those trucks, because every truck has a weekly fee, plus fuel, plus a driver, a specialized one, and you have to move, and then you have to pay permission. And so if you are creative, and you cut, and it's a lot of money, and it's also more sustainable. And again, energy, because we pay, we have like a fee per hour. So we pay to the rental company how many hours, 10 hours per day, that very big generator that probably is bigger, because some days you need less energy, some days you need more energy, but you paid it per hour. So at the end, if you are creative or if you find a way to have connection in the locations, I mean, it's more work. So for instance, what you have to do as producer probably is to try to make the preparation a little bit longer, which is something good when you don't have money, but sometimes it's not always possible. Because then you need time to really find solutions together. But I think that the production department, if they see savings, they're happy. Because really good production department, they don't like independent, they don't like to spend money. So it's a goal for them. If they save 10,000 euros, they're happy.
And what about, do you have experience of big no's that production usually say to you when you propose some sustainability strategy or measure? So something that they really won't accept to do?
Yeah, like big no, for instance, is the lighting generator, the sparks generator, because that's really connected to the shoot. So, you know, like if we are trialing like a new battery solution and they are not comfortable, it's still, you know, like early processes, then they would never ever risk that there are no lights for the shoot. Or something which is also, I think in a lot of the cases, it's money involved and, you know, like the higher parts, because what also connected to like main actors as well. So, you know, like they need to have their comfort. So I think that the biggest no's are connected with what can actually be dangerous for the production process. And especially what's in front of the camera. So I think those are the biggest things. But today we had also a conversation on, because catering is also something like producers are really protective on, because so like how the crew feels also means that they are more efficient if they feel good, they are content, they are happy. So the producers try to, you know, keep them motivated. And one of the things is food. It's really connected with, you know, like emotions and well-being and everything. So introducing like a vegan or completely vegetarian day is sometimes a big no, because they are really afraid what crew will think about it. So even if you explain, like there are some really resistant people who will get together and, you know, like it can be a threat to the production that the crew will come together, they are not content. So I think the food is also like a catering is sometimes a big no. And I think producers from the beginning can really help. So I worked on a smaller scale production, and the producer was super into sustainability. So she was, from the beginning, when she onboarded the crew members, she sent out a survey to them. And in a democratic way, I think it was really nice, because she asked them, like, would you be okay to have one vegetarian day, or actually, would you be okay with vegetarian days? And how frequent? And then they were like, no, I'm not okay, once a week, twice a week, or even 3 days a week with completely vegetarian. And then also with the bottles, do you have at home a bottle, or should we organize it for you? So this way she send the survey, she also like said and signed a document that this is a sustainability shoot. A lot of people and the decision makers are supporting this. And for them, it didn't create any resistance because she showed the responses at the beginning for the whole crew that, hey, you voted for, the majority of you voted for having at least one vegetarian day. And, you know, like, because it was democratic choice, then, you know, everyone was more involved. So I think that's a good way. And then maybe you don't even need a sustainability person on the ground, but as producer or decision makers, you can make a survey with your crew and let's see what they vote for.
What do you say, producer? This is a way?
From the,
And
this is a way, but for instance, I never suggested the vegetarian day. And I mean, I think in Italy, it's very difficult. It's quite impossible. And really, I took out from the catering veal meat without telling them. No, really. We did a bet with the line producer. I said, let's cut it. And I said, they will come to you. They didn't come. But I did for 6 years, but without communicating. Because, yes, there is also a problem. Yes, because there is a problem being an independent producer with trust. They have to trust you that you are trying to save money, but not from them, their well-being, their fee, that you are like dealing in a fair way. So I think that they see vegetarian diet as sacrifice. I prefer, for instance, to have a word in the choice of the catering company, maybe to find a company who use seasonal vegetables and to show them and to tell them. Because, for instance, before being focused on sustainability, I didn't remember what is seasonal and what is not seasonal. And I think, yes, I didn't remember so well. Now I have a calendar. I know what is seasonal, is not seasonal in my region. So I prefer to say, let's put more choices, more vegetable choices. Let's point it out. Let's try to make them more aware of the, and also to prevent waste with when it's possible, like a weekly option of the menu, and they have to choose, and then you explain that in this way we also help the catering company, choosing catering company who donate or who do things to prevent waste of food. Some choices are very, and also, I mean, okay, it's democratic, so maybe the 80% of the crew, but then there is a 20% of the crew which is not happy, and start complaining, and start becoming a problem with the production department that comes to you saying, and then you have to change it. Because then after the second week, you have to change it. So at the end, it's not good that you change something. So, I mean, it's like, it's complicated. But yes, I would have done like once a week.
I think you raised both a very important topic, which is how important it is to involve all the crew in the sustainability strategy and measures, because making a film is a team effort, but also being sustainable is a team effort. So which ways do you think are more effective to involve the crew, perhaps through dedicated communication, or in your experience, when did you manage to most involve the crew with, I don't know if you have some example about this?
I think there are a lot of like psychological effects as well you can use, but also like when we started 5 years ago, we were like, I think they were like saying that, okay, you're super idealistic, it won't work, good luck to all of these efforts. And 5 years from then, and I look back, and we changed a lot of things. And, you know, because we were like resistant and we kept going, we also have like more and more supporters. And I think it's also sometimes like, because there's also a lot of conversation that you set the examples, and I think like more and more people see that you're really believing in this and you're doing it day by day, putting a lot of work, and they also following the path. I think it's also a more trendy topic, so I think more and more people are aware that, and they feel it on their skin. So also here in Greece, like how many fires you have in the summer, like I think the climate is going crazy. In the summer in Budapest, like you have like 4 months, you cannot basically live outside, and it's the same, the working environment on the film shoot as well. So people can really, their skin is burning basically. So I think they also pay now more attention what we are doing, and I think that helps. But otherwise, like what we are doing on the production, so it's also, we do a lot of communication. So we send out newsletters, we try to motivate them with games. I think what also doesn't really work is to make rules. So we try different ways of communicating with them and to engage with them. But for us, the punishment model didn't really work. That I don't know, like this is the rules and that you need to follow. But it's much more better to create your supporters. We also have now like a green committee on one of our production, which means that we have in each department someone who could apply, and we come together like in each month and with that crew members who are in our circle, and they say what's happening in their department. So they can also, because they are there every day, from the department, they can build a change. So I think that's a way that you're resistant, you're motivated, and people will join you, I think.
I think I think that it's easy when sustainability it's part of something as communication of the company and you as a producer. So that's why, for instance, I think also that it's because it speaks about you as producer, about the film that you are doing. And probably, I don't know, I found it easier producing and working on independent projects that struggling to make it. So, and also showing that we are doing something different, like a different product from the commercial product on the market. So we are the producer of Vivo Film, Gregorio Paunis, I work with for 10 years. He told me, we are here to make the audience have a second choice or something different, to show a new vision, to show a place that was not shown. So at the end, I found it that then adding sustainability, it's like adding another level. So that's why you try to motivate people on this level, and I think it's easier. And also, I think I always found important to work with territories, field commission, region, really to try to say, because we are also here and we are also trying to respect this place. But also, I think that you have also to respect your people. They have to feel it's your people, you are responsible for them, and they have to feel protected from all the point of view. So you have to explain them that, because in some films there are challenges. Some films you need crew make some sacrifice in general, because the environment is difficult, the locations are difficult, hot season, whatever. But then you have to try to explain your choices, because probably you could have a second choice easier. And so it's never easy to explain why we end up doing this, and also why we end up using the protocol and how this is important. And sometimes you think that you are communicating in a democratic and open way, but sometimes it's not so. is not perceived as this. So it's also important to as she pointed out, to make like some check during the process. Are they understanding what we are trying to do or not? Because if they don't understand, it's like it's a pity, and then you can also have problems along the way.
But I think like having someone on the ground who is just caring about sustainability really helps. I mean, the dedicated person who is a sustainability person. So like we have one production where like it's a long shoot, it's 8 months, and now like we left the mid production and they started to get less motivated. We only use reusable bottles. So like the girls had this idea to bring stickers on the production. And I was like a bit like, yeah, you sure? You think it will motivate? And like people went there and they like showed their reusable bottle to have stickers on it, and they were really happy. So I think like simple gestures, and it's also a bit psychological because I think stickers, also for me, I was born in the 90s and we always collected like stickers in a book, and I think it gives you, you know, like just a nice feeling. So it's not even, you don't need to think about like big things, but these simple things to keep them motivated is nice.
And thank you, and involved. So you also touched upon a few things talking about the impact that you have on the local community and so when you're shooting in a certain region, and also about the well-being. So it's important now when we talk about sustainability, of course, environmental sustainability is the first thing we have in our mind, because this is really pressing matter and that we need to take in our hands. We should have taken it in our hands long ago, but yet still it's crucial. But it should go hand in hand with social sustainability, and that I'm thinking to leave a positive impact where you're shooting, but also in regards to the well-being of the people that is working with you in making the film. So I think those two things that you mentioned are actually also something really important to think about when you talk about sustainability. And so you touched upon the timing, and you said timing is essential. So in an ideal world, when the producer and the sustainability manager should start working together, and what an ideal collaboration between the two of them would look like for you?
Green light stage already. So I think as soon as possible, even in the script period. So now we have more and more trainings on green film narratives. And I think what I originally wanted to do with science communication and documentary filmmaking is now coming also in sustainability, because with narratives you can really shape like masses of people thinking, because you know, like if they watch a movie, it slips in their mind. You kind of like put the seeds, and it can grow into something much bigger. And I think that's really a power we can have as people in the creative industry. So I think that's also an interesting thing that I learned during my university, that the Mars expedition, it cost a lot for the US people, where they pay a lot of that. And why, like, you know, like if you think about it as a normal person, like why I pay every month from my taxes for the Mars expedition? What I get from it? Like, do I go there, or I know what we will see there? Like, what's the benefit? And actually, there was, I don't know if you saw Mars expedition film with Matt Damon. It was also shot in Budapest, but you know, like, then people started, it was actually also financed, like by the states, kind of, that, like that they think that people, the masses, are thinking that it's a great thing, and they also feel a bit like Matt Damon, that, like, so I think those are all the things, just building on really important topics, or just making so-called planet placement if you can. So if you have a film, and instead of having here now plastic, we are drinking out of glasses and reusables. So yeah, I think those are the things that are really powerful and you can make.
Okay, up to now, I've always start working when we start what we call the hard prep, so the real preparation, because it's the moment in which you have more information to process. But Julia she's right. I think that probably you can involve, and it's better to involve a sustainability manager in a earliest phase after the green light, because before green light you don't know which animal we are talking about for real. But then when you identify the animal, yes, probably. Also because I think that there are solutions that can help you also to structure the project and probably to save sources in general, not only money, also time.
Thank you. So I'm sorry, the clock is running, and I wanted to open the floor for questions. If there were questions from the audience, don't be shy. And you're lucky enough to have both sustainability manager and a producer here. So, but if you don't have question, I can. No, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, if you have, I can pass on the mic. Or you have an.
Hello.
Hello.
Is it open? Ah, you can hear me. Okay, I will start. From the experience of Greenscap, and in my capacity in the film office of Central Macedonia, here in Central Macedonia, Thessaloniki, I would like to ask what would be our superpower as institutions in terms of helping grow a film production industry in that direction.
Who are you asking?
Oh, who wants to reply? I don't mind.
One thing, maybe education, I think. And I think as a film commission, if you can build in more and more topics, so ideally, like as a sustainability manager, I would be just the one who is holding the hands of all the people and all the departments who are already sustainable minded. So, like to creating in each, I don't know, camera department training, or if you have like different trainings for the different professionals, just having 1 hour training on sustainability for each to have the basics so they can already think about it. So if they're going to a production, they already have an idea, they may be supporting, but they know like what we are talking about. So I would definitely go with education from my side, and from that we can build to incentive and introducing things where you also see when your territory is ready for that. I think creating standard incentives, regulating something, you still need to build first. Yeah, so that's my.
And how can you motivate it?
I think this way, so identifying like people who are interested in your region, and then keep that fire burning. So you are the one who is not a really sustainable choice, a coal for the fire, but you're the one who can keep the fire. So I think I would say that.
And if I may add also, I think that sometimes people are also willing to do their part in the sustainability and implementing measures, but they don't find the infrastructure to do so. So another thing that the institution could do is help get funding or, talking with the municipality in order to develop protocols, for example, for connecting to the grid in the locations or things like this. This could definitely be a huge help because you can make plans, but then if you cannot implement them, then it can become hard. So,
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for the discussion. My question is for the producer. What is your opinion or your feelings if something becomes obligatory? We make a regulation, everybody has to follow the regulation, and we end things because everybody has to do it.
No, I think I don't feel this. I think this will help in a first moment, but I don't think this will help on a long way. I believe and I think in my experience it's better to have, like, for instance, a public institution gives you sometimes in Italy and on a national state, for instance, and also on a regional one, additional score if you adopt some measures. I believe this more because then it's your choice, and it's also a responsibility. And also prevent greenwashing. Because I think that this is obligatory. Then you do the law. In Italy, we say you do the law, you find the way to, I'm sorry, we are, I mean, it's a cultural thing of the country. And so, no, I don't believe in, also, for instance, for gender gap, we have additional score. So it's a choice of the producer. Also because, again, my people, meaning my crew, my audience, will see it as a choice, not as something that it's mandatory. Because if it's mandatory, I can complain with you, no? I come and say, we have to do, but we have to choice to do it, and we have to do. It's mandatory for other reason, probably, and I think it's stronger. It's awareness, because what I think is that you have 100 people on an average crew and plus extras, whatever. If any one of them will come back home with being aware of something, and then you communicate the film in a certain way, and then, you spread awareness. If it's mandatory, you spread the rule. It's also because I do some kinds of a certain kind of cinema, so at the end.
well, I think the time is up. So if there aren't any more questions, I'd love to thank you for sharing your experience with us. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.